I suppose depending on who would be listening to this and depending on what their background is, if you've got some national standard swimmer and I give a swim tip, that's not going to work. But I think most people struggle with the swim element of triathlon. And one of the key things that the key message that I send out to my guys is that to swim fast, yes, you have to have a good body position, good head position, decent leg kick, etc., etc. But the key thing for me is I think most age groupers try too hard in swimming. And the analogy I give is that I can show you 10, 11, 12-year-old girls who can swim under a minute. They have no muscle mass, they have no power. However, these guys can swim fast. And I think a lot of age groupers tend to put too much emphasis on trying to pull their hand back through the water. The hand must stay fixed on the water and the body moves over the hand. So if you can nail that, you'll start swimming. I would say if somebody's more comfortable breathing to one side, no problem. That's cool in a game. However, in training, could you imagine continuously going like this, and depending on how many you're doing, 10k a week in a pool, you continuously just turn your neck to the right, that is going to cause an injury over time. So you definitely have to keep breathing. You have to breathe to the other side in training for balance. And it's a bit of what you might call a prehab type of thing to bring into somebody's swimming. When it comes to open water, if you're not used to breathing the other side and you have a wave hitting you in the face always to the right, or you have a swimmer who keeps on hitting you in the face every time you breathe and you can't turn to the left, you're at a disadvantage. So you need to be able to do it both sides because you need to be able to adapt in open water. Well, the leg kick when it comes to swimming is predominantly there for balance. So if you don't have a leg kick, you're not going to have the balance going through the body. So if you look at it from, even if you take a snapshot of an ITU race, at the front of the race, you look across might be 5 or 6 swimmers swimming along, and all of them will have slightly different things going on with their stroke. One of them might have a massive leg kick, the next one, a 2-beat leg kick or whatever else. It's an individual thing, but everybody needs to have a leg kick of some sort. And these tri coaches, it happened to me when I first came into triathlon. Put the ball buoy between your legs and everything will be okay. It's rubbish. You need to have a leg kick, you need to have balance through your stroke. My advice would be that it's a little bit like transition. You have to practice it. And you don't practice it just when you go to open water swimming. You practice it all the way through winter. Just throw it into a set every so often. So when you do get closer to summer or your major race, that it's not something you all of a sudden have to start bringing into your stroke. And just to lift your head, unless the water is choppy and rough, you only have to have your eyes just breaking the surface of the water. You don't need to bring your whole chest out every time you go to sight. So again, sighting is about how much can you keep the stroke efficient as you take a look. I think practice. You have to. It's one of those. People. I suppose coaches go on about it all the time, but it's one of those things. And I really. And when I'm taking the London Academy guys, it's one of the key things I hit home is that the technical things, the transitions, the jumping on bikes, jumping off bikes, all of these things can be practiced, and they can be massive time-saving things that you do. So if you leave it and practice it only in racing, then you're just setting yourself up to fail. So it's little things that can save, in some cases, minutes off your time. Why wouldn't you practice that when that minute would take you a year or two to get in the pool or on the track or whatever else? So these things need to be practiced, and practiced a lot, and part of your training.